Hey there, welcome, leader. I'm so happy to serve you today. I am Denise Simpson. I am a public academic and researcher and founder of the Masters of Leadership Institute. The Institute is designed to help leaders be better, be more effective, more impactful. And we get to measure your impact inside the Institute because we know that you are under so much pressure and you have to prove your worth every single day. And with the way, our economies are changing and the world is changing, organizational behavior is changing, we're under much more pressure than ever before. And we know it's important to help you. And so our mission is to serve the leader. So we're doing that today with this short leadership training. And why is it short? Because you're busy. Because you are busy leading teams, you're busy doing your duties, and we want to just share with you some an important simple concept today so that you can take this into your leadership practice and actually implement it. So let's get started. Today's training is on the art and science of leadership. The art and science. I'm sure you've heard this term in many places. It's been written for decades, the art and the science. And so I want to give you my perspective on your art and the science that you can measure. So the art, let's start there because that's the fun part. That's you. It's what you bring to the table. The art, it's your personality. It is your character. They include your values, also your belief systems, right? Your mindset, your attitude, what you believe about your employees or believe about leadership. And so the art is as important as the science. I say it's much more fun because you get to bring your whole self to the table. That's the beauty about the art of your leadership is that you get to show up authentically. Yes, professionally, but authentically, so that you get to leverage your very specific or unique way of looking at leading. And see, the way I was, raised and programmed is very different than the way you were raised or programmed. And so I have different, neurology that is running my decision making, running the way I lead, which I'm almost positive is not the same as yours. And so I can't lead the way you lead because of the life experience that you have seen and now get to share through your leadership. And so you, however, cannot lead like he can lead because you again are very different people with different programming, different conditioning, different neurology. Because, my friend, you take your brain and your heart everywhere you go. And so we want to encourage you to use your art. And so the way I use my art when I lead my team is I get to leverage and influence through my art. That's part of leadership. That's the beauty of leadership is that I get to leverage my personality, my character, my values, my belief systems so that I can relate to my employees so they can resonate with what I'm telling them so that they can buy in and where I can persuade them to take action on a task and then ultimately fulfill these team performance goals. And so I get to leverage the art of who I am. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So as you're looking at leadership today and you're feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, take a moment and jot down art in one column, science in the other column, and the art. Start listing the unique attributes, traits, characteristics about you and how you get to leverage those things as you are influencing intentionally your direct reports and your team members. That's the art. It's fun. It's fun. Now, listen, we get to look at the art of your leadership through executive coaching and leadership coaching. And so we always stress that self-awareness is the number one predictor of a leader's success and the team's success. So the higher the self-awareness is For the leader, the higher the performance goals are met, the more likely that those goals are going to be met, and so and many other things that correlate to the leader's self-awareness, and that's part of your art. And so we get to look at those gaps, and we get to look at those values that are unconscious to you right now and are actually pretty weighty in how you make decisions. They fuel your decisions as a leader. And so sometimes you create a result unintentionally in your leadership practice, and then you ask yourself, how did that happen? What was the strategy that I used under the science column? And then how was my art involved in that? How did I leverage that or not? And then we get to, put all that under the microscope through coaching. And so the art is so important in your leadership practice. So make sure you do this very simple exercise: art on one side of the column, on the left column, and on the right column, science, your science. So let's talk about science and the definition of science. Let's begin there. Is the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and the testing of these theories against the evidence obtained. So, leadership is a field of science, and I have a PhD in leadership studies. So, this is all I've studied, and this is all I do, and this is what I love and obsess over. And so, what I'm mostly concerned is, can it be observed? Can it be measured? And is it repeatable? That's science. And so when we look at a leader's behavior, we want to look at the impact of that behavior, because this is how you will be measured. This is how we measure success or failure. And so that's the science that I get to do in my institute. And so the science is important because we get to look at theory, we get to look at empirical research, and then we get to go and apply these theories in real life, in real time, all for the purpose of measuring and making it repeatable if, however, those results are in our favor. And so I created an assessment. It's called the Leader Impact Assessment, because we distilled down leadership into three simple, not easy variables. And so we get to measure our clients' success. And by the way, it's for everybody. I'm going to share with you that link in just a short moment. Again, it's the Leader Impact Assessment, and you're going to want to take that, and you're going to get a full PDF report on your individual scores and the areas that you need improvement on, the areas that we want to hone, and it's individualized just for you. So that's the science that we get to measure, and that's what we want to do. Is, when we're leading our teams, we're creating strategic plans, we're executing on those plans, and then we have to create results from those plans. And so we want to measure those results, because this will determine whether you are successful or not. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, there's a whole lot of pressure on leaders right now, having to prove their worth over and over again. And, there's that study that came out, or that article that came out, on over 31% of middle managers were let go in 2023. And 2024, we're midway through it. We're seeing a lot of organizations backpedal on those decisions that they made in 2023. And so middle managers are getting the brunt of this pressure. So whether you lead a team at whatever level in the hierarchy, you are under a lot of pressure to prove your worth. And we do that through measuring our impact. And so what's great about this assessment that I'm going to share with you is you can take this to your leader's office, if of course you want, because I know a lot of you are getting ready to do performance evaluations or preparing for them. This will be a very interesting report to add to that meeting so that you can share that with your leader. And if you're leading, folks, you're going to want them to also take this assessment so they can also see where they're at, because some of you are identifying some high potential employees right now. They may be individual star performers, and they're very high performing folks, but you don't know if they have the potential to lead. So we want to make sure they take that test so that you get to see if, who's on the road to that leadership position. So you can use it, and so can your team members. So that's the science. That's what we want to do, is measure our impact. And everything that we do as leaders must be measurable. And we must be able, if these results are in our favor, how do we repeat these results? And that's where we get really involved in that strategic plan and execution. So the science is important, and we have some great scientists out there. Adam Grant, I believe he's an organizational psychologist. Human, no, I gosh, I think he's an org psych. Writes amazing books on organizational behavior, and he's one that I watch, and he's the one the one I go to with the latest research, because he has such great ways of using data and using science to help organizations elevate themselves and their employees. And so the science is important, but back to the art now. Some of you, I think a lot of us, maybe about 99% of us watching, have taken some kind of personality quiz. And so that's not science. Those quizzes are just confirming your characteristics and your personality and certain traits. So those are, like Myers-Briggs or the DISC and many others. Those are personality quizzes, and those are fun because a lot of us are unconsciously leading. And when we take these kind of quizzes, we act surprised, but actually we shouldn't be surprised. This is who we are, and these are personality tests. And be careful, because I don't want for you to pigeonhole yourself into those labels. I want for you to use them to just confirm what you already know. And if the results that you get from those personality quizzes are not in your favor, then find a way to to evaluate how you can change some of those traits. But those are personality quizzes. That's part of your art. Now, the assessment I'm going to share with you is part of your science. Now, that is based on the leadership theory and principles that we in my institute have designed. So this quiz or assessment, I should call it's an assessment, not a quiz, an assessment that you're going to want to take to measure your impact right now. So keep taking those cute personality quizzes. I do them all the time. I think they're so much fun, but I don't take them that seriously because I know myself so well. But the science, that's where you're going to want to spend some time measuring your impact. And so here is that. Again, it's called the Leader Impact Assessment. And here is now the link that you're going to want to go to. And wherever you're watching this, I'll make sure my team puts a link somewhere where you're watching this training. It is leaderimpactassessment.scoreapp.com/. Again, that's leaderimpactassessment.scoreapp.com/. So you're going to want to go there now. So this is why it's important that we talk about the art and the science of your leadership. Bring your art. We need more of you in the organization. We don't need a hologram of your previous leader or a former, supervisor. We want for you to bring your whole self to the table. That's why it's important to be authentic. But yes, we have gaps and we have biases, and we want to make sure we put those under the microscope and evaluate our art, all those elements that make up our art. We want to evaluate them often. And the science is what I'm going to help you do. And that's what our institute is all about. We help, especially with this assessment that you're going to want to take right away. We get to measure that impact and have a number to it. We have data to support that, and then this way you get that report, and then you are able to act on it. You are able to do something about those scores right away. So we give you an action plan immediately following your results page. So that's the science. And that's, we can help you do both. But with this assessment, you're going to want to check that impact score right away. Okay, dear leader, short and sweet, like I promised, the art and science of your leadership. We can support you in coming to the table as your whole self, using your art to influence and leverage your employees, and the science to make greater impact in your organization. That's what we get to do. So thank you so much. You're going to want to comment below if you have any questions. DM us right away if you want to work with us immediately. We are able to do that and support you immediately. But stay tuned here for some more of these mini trainings along the way. All right, everybody, take good care. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you on our next live training.